Hey YouTube, Joe here, and I've had a lot of people to ask me, can you show me how you make a stem for your pipes? And I thought, well, I'll do it. The last video that Randall Potate made did not show the process of making the stem, just for time's sake, so I thought maybe I would just show you how I make a stem. Now, I've got this pipe that I'm working on. This one is going to be a billiard pot pipe that I've already basically drilled out, made the start on the shank and the actual bowl diameter on the lathe. I will have to do some sanding and some work on that coming up. But now, how about the stem that will fit there in the hole that's already made? If you notice, the holes that I make have a little bevel on the inside of them that helps fit the stem. This is the piece of acrylic that I'm using for the stem. It's going to be a little short kind of stem here, and I've already found my center. Can you see right there where I found the center of that? That's very important right now, as I'll show you. I now have the piece of acrylic right here in my chuck. This is a 4-jaw chuck, but this is what I use all the time. I took out 2 of the jaws and used this to actually clamp like the stock of the pipe. When I've got the briar in there, I can actually, you can see where the clamp marks there are on that when it's stuck in there to drill it out. But right now I've got the inner part of the chuck there holding, as you can see, the piece of acrylic and the live center there going into where I made my marks to show where the center of this piece of acrylic is. The next thing I'll do is chuck in a drill chuck here, and we'll start the drilling out the process of the air hole and getting ready to turn the tenon. Now I've got it chucked up here in the tailstock here, the drill chuck, with my drill bit into getting ready to move into the piece of acrylic. And I do it very, very slowly so as not to clog it up and make the hole any bigger. If you've ever drilled out acrylic, you know that it melts pretty quickly. I've got it on a real high speed, and I'm basically turning my handle 1 turn at a time. And when I do, you'll notice that it clears itself out, so I don't get it clogged up. Now I have in my drill chuck, I have the Pimo tenon cutter. This is something that a lot of pipe makers use that really saves a lot of time when you're trying to turn the tenon here. This is the guide post that goes into the hole that I just drilled. This is the cutter, and it will cut the exact diameter of the tenon that I need. So what we do is we'll go right in, put the guide post in, the cutter is all the way up to the edge, and then we will begin. We'll turn on the lathe here, and as you will see, it does an amazing, very fast cut of the tenon. And there you have it. Just about that simple. Now what I will do is take some sandpaper and just kind of sand it down a little bit. Something else I do is take a countersink and actually countersink the air hole in the tenon. Again, that helps out in the draw. Just enough. Just enough to make a nice beveled edge there inside the tenon. Now what I have is a Beal collet chuck. It's made up of 3 parts here that are going to hold the diameter of that tenon that I just cut, so that I can drill from the other end. You have this end that I just cut, but I need to drill from this end, which will actually be the smoking end of this, what will be the stem. The way this works is this fits in here, and then go in there, and then it screws down and then we'll put it on the headstock here of the drill, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, I have it now loaded on my headstock, and as you see, this is a diameter that fits perfectly with the tenon that I just cut. So I put it in there, and then I tighten it down right there. And now, since it is perfectly centered in this collet chuck, that means that I will hit perfect center when I put my drill bit into this end, which will go in to meet where I had drilled the earlier hole from the other end for not only the guide tool but also the beginning of the air hole, which will taper down just a little bit to a smaller size 3/32 hole on this end. Once again, I will take very small increments at a time to go in, because what I don't want to do is that waste material to get between the bit itself and the acrylic, because that will begin a wobble with the drill bit, making a larger hole than I want. So once again, I am only turning my handle here like one revolution at a time, which allows it to drill out and it cleans itself out. What I'm going to do now is take that tenon, which I rough sanded, and I've brought it over here to my Tripoli wheel, one of the 3 wheels I have here on my buffing unit. And what I will do is I will actually buff it down to make it smooth. Usually this is a two-handed operation, but that's okay, I think I've got it. And once I have it nice and smooth, I will bring it to this wheel right here, which has some carnauba wax already on it, and I just kind of just touch it a little bit just to get a little wax on it to make a good smooth glide into the mortise of the shank. Now I have it ready here, and this will be the trial fit. Put it in, and there you go. It's a good tight fit in there. Now it's ready to be sanded down, and then we will cut, of course, a little bit more here on the cut my elongated hole right there on my shank, into the stem rather. So there you go. Okay, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make a short saddle bit design on that. Of course, this is the tenon which fits inside the pipe. So the pipe is coming to here, and what I want to do is leave a little bit of a head right up here, and then flatten it out, just a straight flat to the end of the piece there. And then I'll show you how I actually make what I call the little button that is on the end. To do that, at least starting out, I'm using my belt sander here. This is an amazing tool to use. I've got like a 60 grit sandpaper on it, which I will begin the process of actually pushing this into it and sanding it down. Okay, this is a very rough look at where I'm going with that. Now it's beginning to look more like a stem, with the button taking shape up here on the end. There you have the stock here. Now what I'm going to do, it's still square, and when I match it up with the the shank, I will actually sand both of these at the same time to make them flush with one another. I'll also put my silver dot in there as well. This is just where I am taking my sander and throwing 130 grit on it and sanding it down, smoothing it down just a little bit more off of that 60 grit that I had a minute ago, taking some of the, how it kind of made the lines in there, if you will. And after this, we'll go to the buffing station, after, of course, matching it to the shank itself. And then we'll go to the buffing station and buff it into a beautiful shine. Now I've put the stem into the shank of the unfinished pipe, and what I'm going to do is take this diameter and match it across here. And there you have it, a beautifully matched shank and stem. Just before I take it to polish, I am going to take a file and just do some hand work on it, just to kind of even up where that button is located. Okay, I now have I've placed my silver dot on it. I always do that at 45 degree to the right of the pipe. And now I'm going to take it apart, and if I can get it, it's got a good snug fit. That's good. And now I'm going to take it and buff it over here on my Tripoli wheel, and then going to the white diamond. So after a lot of buffing and finishing out the rest of the pipe, here is the finished product. And there you see the stem, good thin design, saddle design there, and that swirl, love that swirl. And this is a pot billiard pipe that I made for a customer of mine from Great Britain, over in the United Kingdom. You'll be getting it very soon with the rusticated design there, and my name stamped there on the underside. But that is how I make the stems. Hope you enjoyed seeing that process.